Bizarre things happen on spaceships, we know. But what do you do when a creature from outer space wants to explore your inner universe? Welcome back to Cinesynthesis. Sit back and enjoy the show. Eurospace program poster boy Jakub Procházka is speaking to the Czech public from Jupiter's backyard. Our hero is on a mission to investigate the Chopra cloud, a mysterious purple mist that appeared in the night sky 4 years ago. A teenage girl who's supposed to act curious about science seems determined to ruin Commander Tuma's celebratory mood. Obsessed with the fact that nobody has ever been that far from Earth, the girl keeps asking if he feels lonely or sad. Jakub is a bit too anxious to deny it, casually affirming that he talks to his wife, Lenka, every day. But right after the applause fades, we see Lenka in tears, apologizing for the terrible timing. Yep, you guessed it. This man is getting dumped in the middle of a 1-year solo space mission. Not just yet, though. The message is intercepted and labeled as the Lenka problem. Tuma says there's no way he's going to see this, but Peter, who's been talking to Jakub more often, warns her that the astronaut has been asking about his wife. The couple normally uses a machine called Czech Connect, but his better half has stopped answering his calls. Well, at least the poor man has plenty of trouble to keep his mind busy. Half of the ship's cameras are malfunctioning for no apparent reason. Peter says that he'll file another report, as if it would help at all. When he tries Lenka again, the call is disrupted by a deep male voice. The conversation doesn't last long, but Jakub is totally freaked out. Always blaming issues on South Koreans trying to sabotage the Czech mission, Peter is so unhelpful he doesn't even have the decency to sound worried. Jakub has no choice but to believe him and just carry on with all the space stuff. That's when he opens a particular door and a gigantic spider-like creature says hello. Not a metaphoric hello, the thing actually talks to Jakub. It begins to explain itself, almost apologizing for the intrusion. Knowing that he hasn't been sleeping well, he hesitates to tell Peter what's happening. The specific camera that could save him is out, of course. He has no way to tell if this is all in his mind or if it's about to be all over his body. So he gets into the airlock and suits up, convincing Peter that there might be germs on the ship, and those samples from Chopra Cloud must not be compromised. As they spray the decontaminant, Jakub watches the orange fog take over, and Peter casually suggests a chat with Dr. Karak, the psychiatrist. Jakub reassures him that everything's fine. But the moment he steps outside the airlock, his new friend is back, eager to let him know that he wasn't harmed. Choosing the hallucination hypothesis as a starting point, Jakub tries to make physical contact. The creature politely asks him not to. You see, it's kind of a taboo in his tribe. Then he explains that he's been studying Earth dwellers. See, that's how he can speak English. Not weird at all. At first, he approached the ship for research purposes, but then this skinny human was so helpless and alone that he decided to reach out. The astronaut responds to such kindness by downing a triple dose of his sleeping pills. His nightmares begin to merge into painful memories of his marriage, and suddenly he's not sure if he's still sleeping or not. The alien seems to be provoking these visions as some kind of therapy. During that time, we can see how well he studied humans, as he behaves exactly like an intrusive relative overstaying their welcome. He touches everything, complains about Jakub's excessive boundaries, and gets disappointed to learn that eggs don't travel well. He was kind of hoping for a taste. Jakub offers him some food anyway. He's ready for some conversation now. If this is not real, no harm done. So he asks the alien where he's from, originally. He says his home was tragically lost to the Gorumpeds. Down on Earth, Commissioner Tuma is on her way to see Lenka. She admits that Jakub is a peculiar man, and it can't be easy for a pregnant woman to be all by herself for this long. Meanwhile, Peter is telling some lies about Lenka's Czech Connect, but Jakub doesn't pay much attention. The conversation with his hitchhiker is getting interesting. He knows a lot about the Chopra Cloud. It's made of grains from the beginning of the universe. Jakub's mind is flooded with memories of Lenka again. The alien says he's not creating these images, only helping him find the right ones. It's strange to him that humans promise each other things like eternal love even though they can't predict the future. He also asks Jakub why his love for Lenka seems to be present only when she is not. Too weirded out by such an intrusive analysis, Jakub ends that session. He also makes the alien put away the Nutella, not without some resistance. Right now, Lenka is talking to her mother about the issues in the relationship. She says people on this planet are just tiny dots for Jakub, and not just because he's up there now. It's always been this way, and she's getting tired of being a dot. On the ship, the alien says he's never had a name. Jakub agrees to give him one, forgetting that this is the point of no return for most pets. Our 8-legged friend is now Hanush, to honor the famous clockmaster who may not be real. Ignoring the subtle insinuation about his existence, the alien is happy to accept his new name. Watching Jakub's daily exercises, Hanush wonders why a sentient individual would keep running if he can't reach a different location. Jakub tries to explain the concept of fitness, but his mind is suddenly assaulted by images from the past. Running reminded him of training with his dad, and Hanush is curious about those guilty feelings. Well, it turns out that Jakub's father was a government informant and became known as a traitor to his people. Hanush says this Chopra mission is an attempt to offset all that damage. He keeps brooding over a late parent when he should be preparing to welcome a child. Meanwhile, Commissioner Tuma is informing Lenka that her Czech Connect is being dismantled as they speak. That is a precaution against unpleasant messages, like the last one. Lenka is not so surprised to find out the Commissioner is censoring their communication. She remains firm in her decision, but Tuma says this is not only about the mission, asking her what kind of woman leaves her husband in the middle of a dangerous mission. She also hints at mental health issues he might be having already, according to Peter's reports. Imagine if he had mentioned the talking spider to them. Luckily, he decides to keep that to himself, at least until the crucial part of the mission is over. The ship is supposed to enter the Chopra cloud in about 45 hours. However, it seems like the cloud itself can't wait to meet him. A tiny particle makes its way into the ship. Unable to enjoy anything that can't be owned, Jakub immediately fetches a jar. But to his astonishment, that sparkling beauty won't be so easily imprisoned. It can float through matter without any resistance. Now, that ship clearly has seen better days, and the attempts to control the particle only make it worse. Trying to reach Peter, he realizes that all communications are down. More particles come to visit them, but quickly return to the cloud. Their behavior looks so purposeful that Hanush can sense the human's fear. He swears that Chopra poses no danger. Human language is insufficient to explain its nature, but Jakub will understand when he gets to experience the cloud for himself. Later that day, Hanush has a new trick for his host. Jakub walks into a memory that can't belong to him. He sees Lenka having a miscarriage a few years ago, but he wasn't there with her. That moment is reconstructed from what she told him later, and from the many times that his mind tried to recreate it in the past. Now Hanush finally understands why Lenka is so afraid. Something scary happened to her when her husband was away on a mission. He promised her this would not happen again, but that was just another lie. All Jakub cares about are his heroic missions and remarkable achievements. Lenka was just a source of comfort when he needed a break from them. He was never able to see his wife as a fellow human. That conclusion makes Hanush realize that this particular human is beyond any help. He decides to leave him to his all-important mission. Jakub tries to stop him, but Hanush reminds him of that no-touching policy in a very firm way. The fact that he has never harmed the human does not mean that he is a harmless creature. Anyway, Jakub is not afraid. He is devastated by the prospect of being all alone. Loneliness is the true horror. And that's what Lenka keeps going through for the sake of his success. Only now can he understand the enormity of that. When Peter shows up at the maternity retreat, Lenka immediately expects the worst. But it's not that. Jakub forced him to take the phone to her and beg her to listen. Then he apologizes for everything and admits he is a very bad husband. He even confesses not to know much about her, while she has always made an effort to know him. Hanush is happy to see the human's willingness to make things right. Returning to his company, he says there is something Jakub needs to know. When the Garompeds destroyed his tribe, he got to Hanush too. He doesn't have much time now, which is why he doesn't want to enter Chopra all alone. As Jakub gets emotional, Hanush puts his culture aside for a moment and gives the skinny human a nice hug. Now the time has come to face the beginning. Commissioner Tuma speaks to the nation, proud to have beaten the South Koreans. As the ship penetrates the cloud, heavy interference begins to impair communication. Suddenly, several alarms go off and Mission Control reports a problem. Peter tells him to abort the sample collection. At the same time, Hanush begins to wheeze heavily. Jakub rushes to help him, but he's gone. Now Peter is saying that the ship has suffered catastrophic damage and he won't stand a chance unless he turns around immediately. But Hanush is outside the ship now, and this is Jakub's main concern. The astronaut doesn't hesitate to suit up and leave the safety of the ship. He won't let Hanush die alone. Propelling himself with the same spray he once attacked his friend with, Jakub manages to reach him. The alien takes him into the cloud, to the center of the beginning. This is where everything converges. He can see that Chopra contains every single moment that ever happened. Nothing is too permanent from this point of view, but nothing is ever lost. Declaring that the universe is the way it should be, Hanush is then consumed by the ever-present Garompeds. With no means to get back to his ship, which is probably wrecked anyway, Jakub prepares for a similar fate. That's when the South Koreans arrive and offer him a ride home. And from Lenka's smile when he calls, it looks like he still has a home to go back to. And that's a wrap! Don't forget to like the video and make sure to subscribe to our channel for more sci-fi recaps. Thank you for watching!